This episode of Distraction is sponsored by Omega Bright CBD. Formulated by Omega Bright Wellness, creators of the #1 omega-3 supplements for the past 20 years. Omega Bright CBD, safe, third-party tested, and it works. Shop online at omegabrightwellness.com. Hello, this is Dr. Ned Hallowell, and welcome to a mini episode of Distraction. As you know, each week we've been releasing a mini that in one way or another relates to the pandemic we've been all living through. And today I thought I would list some topics that you will never hear me do a mini on. And I'll just go down the little list that I've made here and offer a brief comment. At the top of the list, you will never hear me do a mini on the pleasures of pandemics. I can't imagine ever doing such a mini. Not to say this period of time is uniformly miserable, but I wouldn't think that it stands out as a garden of earthly delights. Number 2. You will never hear me do a mini on the joys of ranting talk show hosts. I don't think I can ever imagine doing such a mini, and we do have so many ranting talk show hosts. I certainly hope I'm not one of them. But of course, this isn't a talk show, this is a podcast. Number 3, you will never hear me do a mini on the ecstasy of ignorance. It does seem that there are more than a few people in our great nation who not only enjoy but feel a kind of ecstasy in their ignorance. And when it is pointed out to them, they say with great pride, "I have a right to my opinion." Yes, you do. Ignorant as it may be, you absolutely have a right to it, to even be ecstatic over it. But you will not hear me do a mini on the ecstasy of ignorance, because I tend to recommend knowledge instead. Number 4, you will never hear me do a mini on 7 ways to alienate people without even trying. You will never hear me do such a mini, since I'm a big fan of helping people connect. Number 5, you will never hear me do a mini on 10 good reasons to hold grudges until you die. I will never do a mini on how to hold a grudge and never give it up. The 6th one will stir some controversy, but you will never hear me do a mini on 11 recipes for sweet potatoes. That's because sweet potatoes are the one food that I just can't stand. I just can't stand sweet potatoes. And for all you sweet potato lovers out there, I'm sorry. I wish I loved them. They're very nutritious. They're one of the healthiest foods you can eat. They're supposedly delicious, but I literally can't get one down my throat without gagging. And the final topic that you will never hear me do a mini on is how to cultivate and enjoy social isolation. That is not one that you're going to hear me talk about, since I am at the other end of the spectrum, one who really wants to help people cultivate and enjoy connection in its many different domains. But I'm sure there are people out there who would love to learn how to cultivate and enjoy social isolation, particularly these days when social isolation is, at least from a medical standpoint, safer than being out and about. Well, there you have 7 topics of minis that you will never hear me do. On the other hand, I hope you'll tune in for the future minis on other topics that usually relate to something a little bit more upbeat than this dismal set of 7. Well, I hope I've made you smile a little bit anyway. That's my mission, to bring to you some diversion and enjoyment and pleasure and entertainment. Thank you for joining me. Before I sign off, I do have to thank our sponsor, Omega Bright CBD. I've been taking it for the past 3 months and highly recommend it. Omega Bright CBD is safe, third-party tested, and it works. Go to omegabrightwellness.com, and remember, bright is spelled B-R-I-T-E. Go to omegabrightwellness.com and use the promo code podcast2020 to save 20% off your first order. That's podcast2020. Okay, remember, please to reach out to us with your questions, comments, and show ideas. We love them. We depend upon them. We just can't get enough of them. Our email address is connect@distractionpodcast.com. That's connect@distractionpodcast.com. Distraction is created by Sounds Great Media. Our producer is the multi-talented Sarah Guertin, and our recording engineer and editor is the genius of Scott Persson. I'm Dr. Ned Hallowell, and thanks so much for listening. The episode you just heard was sponsored by Omega Bright CBD, formulated by Omega Bright Wellness, creators of the #1 omega-3 supplements for the past 20 years. Omega Bright CBD, safe, third-party tested, and it works. Shop online at omegabrightwellness.com.